Are you interested in getting your website built or maybe redone in 2021? Well, there's a number of things that you have to consider when you're building out a website, and one of those things is making sure that you look good for the future. Emmanuel here, and as we move from 2020 to 2021, I am happy to provide you with the 2021 real estate web design trends. It's exciting times. 2021 is around the corner, so I'm sure you want to start your new year looking fresh. And if you've been following our channel before, both myself and my team are really excited for the new year, and we wanted to kick things off with a brand new set. So as you can see behind me, things are looking a little different, kind of switch things up a little bit. Now, this is still a work in progress, but just as a heads up, it's gonna continue to get better and better. We wanted to bring in some fresh new energy for the new year and also provide you with some really new, awesome content. We have a lot of really great stuff lined up, but this is really the first version of, I guess, 2021. So with that being said, let us dive into the meat and potatoes of today's video. And I want to start off by saying that 2020 is now in the past and it's time to look to a bigger, brighter, and better future. And in order to look bigger, better, and brighter in the future, it does have to start with your website because you know it has to look fresh. And let's be honest, you know that one of your underlying goals is to make sure that your website looks so good that all of your peers, whether it be someone in your brokerage or maybe a competitor, is gonna look to your website for inspiration because it looks so good. Quick side note, the trends that I'm gonna be explaining today are trends I see across the board, not just the real estate industry. To be honest, most real estate websites do not get any type of digital awards simply because they just don't look good. They look kind of clunky and they look very canned. But my goal for today is to provide you with some inspiration to help guide you to that new real estate website that you want to build in 2021. Now, there are a ton of websites out there that are throwing out trends for 2021. A lot of them are cool, but a lot of them are also pretty redundant and repetitive. So what I wanted to do was really whittle it down to 5 main trends that I feel are going to be very, very prominent or prevalent in 2021. Before I get into it, quick shout out to 99 Designs and Blue Compass. I took a lot of the trends that I'm going to be talking about from their posts. If you want to read their posts in their entirety, I'm going to leave the link in the description below. Now, to kick things off, I think that the overarching theme of 2021 is this concept of high-tech fantasy, where really the goal is to blend digital with real life. Now, trend number 1 that I want to bring to the table is this idea of parallax animation. Just like in real life, there's a ton of motion and movement, and web designers and developers are trying to implement that same kind of continuity on websites themselves. Now, when I talk about motion, I'm not specifically referring to hiring a video company to create a cool video for you. I'm specifically talking about movements of elements on your webpage as you scroll down the webpage. This is a trend that I mentioned in my 2020 trends video, and I'm actually double downing on this trend in 2021 because I really think it's going to become a lot more predominant. And what you are going to see are elements of the web page, the motion and the movement of those elements really start to get a lot more complex, using a lot more layers as we continue to move into 2021 and as the technology continues to evolve and advance. The next trend I want to mention to you, trend number 2, is this idea of neumorphism. And simply put, neumorphism is the successor of flat design. Now, if you're a super nerd like me and you paid attention to Windows back in 2010, they were the ones that kind of spearheaded the idea of flat design, using iconography as well as shapes to really illustrate and lay out the page. Well, there seems to be a resurgence of that trend utilizing a lot more modern day techniques. Well, the easy way to explain this design trend is simply creating a shape and then throwing a drop shadow behind it, but I am honestly not doing it any justice. It really deserves more than that. Really, the goal of this trend is to make flat objects look more realistic by adding a third dimension. So expect to be seeing a lot more of this trend in 2021. Trend number 3 that I want to bring to your attention is this idea of transformative web pages through scrolling. This is essentially the idea of a web page that changes as you scroll down the web page. It might change colors, it might change shape. It's essentially changing its orientation and layout throughout the length of the page. See, the idea behind this is simply because the UI and UX nerds realize that one of the easiest forms of engagement of a web page is through scrolling, and to really increase that engagement, they needed to add more flair to it. So instead of clicking to different pages to get a different user experience, now users are going to be able to experience a different kind of website as they just simply scroll down the page. All right, trend number 4, which is really my favorite trend out of 2021 that I'm seeing through the tea leaves, is this idea of storytelling through the website. Simply put, it's not just creating a web page with a bunch of text for whatever reason. It's trying to create a story with a beginning, middle, and end as you scroll down the web page. Really, the idea here is not to create a web page with a bunch of information, but to create a website that immerses the user in this experience of that particular environment. If you follow my Instagram, by the way, I'm gonna leave the Instagram handle like right here. I think that's about right. Go ahead, give me a follow. I do a segment on there like once every other week called Cool Site Bro, where I go in and I look for cool websites and kind of review them and give my feedback on them. And there was this one website, a fitness studio location campus called Code, and they did a really great job of explaining this particular trend that I'm referring to. Now, the campus itself is not due to open up for a few years, but what they actually did was created a 3D rendering of the campus and allowed you to click around that campus to really experience all of the different sections, areas, and locations that you will potentially be visiting when you go there in real life. Now, as a real estate agent, I think the first thing that comes to mind is maybe those Matterport 3D virtual tours, but I'm not really referring to that. If you look at this particular website, it pretty much 10x's the Matterport 3D tours substantially, and it's beautiful. I highly recommend you check it out. I'll actually leave the link to that website in the description below as well. All right, now my last trend is actually an ode to the old school, which is video backgrounds. Now, in the previous year, there was a trend utilizing video backgrounds and another trend using a large typography. You can pretty much consider those two trends being smashed together, and now it's becoming this new trend utilizing a full page video background with one large call to action with very, very, very large font. And there you have it, my top 5 trends for 2021. So hopefully you can use some of these trends to provide you with some inspiration when you decide to either create or redesign your real estate website of your own. Now, to wrap things up, these trends are not set in stone and they are completely subjective. Look, I've been in this web design game for a very long time, and really these are the trends that I think are going to be very prominent moving into the new year. But with that being said, you should not just be listening to me, you should be looking for inspiration everywhere. Now, if you see something cool, take a screenshot, write it down, because really the goal here is to create something unique with your own kind of flavor, and that is really going to speak to your own personal brand. By the way, if you need help building out your real estate website, you know it's one of the things that we're experts in, so please, by all means, feel free to reach out and we'll be more than happy to help. Aside from that, I hope you guys found some true value in this video, and if you did, make sure you click the like button. You know it helps out the video, you know it helps out the channel, you know it helps out and appeases the YouTube gods, aka algorithm. So please do so, I'd really appreciate it. And on top of that, make sure you click the subscribe button and the bell icon to get notified for future videos. Aside from that, I hope you found this video helpful, and I'm really looking forward to a really awesome 2021 with you guys. I will catch you later. Have a great one. Thanks. Bye-bye.